The time has finally come and we are ready to kick off our campaign in the Championship. We've got a whole host of new signings that are signed for us. We're going to be playing our first game in the Championship, which I will say it's a little annoying, but it's going to be against Bolton, who are a team that got promoted with us. And we're going to be starting the episode off with one hell of a huge bit of news. So no need to dilly-dally any longer. Let's just get into it. And we are starting this episode off not long after the last one finished, actually. But oh my God, Leeds United have accepted us extending Kevin O'Neill's loan. I had a little thing come through going over the fact that he's going back. This did say interested extension, yes, and there was the button next to it. So we just clicked it, and yeah, it's been confirmed. We've got him for another season. Absolutely delighted with that. And then a little bit of a crazier news. We're building a new stadium. Everything is still, everything is still being assessed. Everything is still in the planning stage. Nothing is confirmed here yet, but it does say capacity of around 13,000 is expected, which I suppose we are actually going to need at least that if we ever get into the Premier League, isn't it? I think there's a minimum requirement of, I think it was 10 or 11,000, but either way, 13,000 will be a nice new stadium for us, and we'll actually be able to leave Damson Park. So what an off-season it has been. We've actually got our first game of the season up against Bolton today, a fellow promoted team. But before we get to that, let's give you a little catch-up of what's been going on over the last couple of months. Just to start things off, we'll have a look at where we are expected to come now in the league. And it's still only 10th, to be honest. I'm normally a bit higher by this point, but this is a little crazy of a league, and I have struggled to get talent in just because of the wage demands of this division. I mean, if we can we go to team stats yet this early? No. You can't look at team overviews just yet. But being our wage total is incredibly low, it's not surprising that we can't really attract too many players. Just speaking of wage total, you might notice if we click on our finances screen, things are looking quite healthy. And it has been, I'm not going to say a frustrating off-season. Wow, it's been frustrating with the amount of bids I've had to turn down, let me tell you. But we've managed to bring some decent players in, and I think, our board want us to aim for a top half finish. I think that's possible. We have still got some potential loan options, and obviously towards the end of a transfer window, more players get interested in coming to your club, as well as demands being lowered for the players that, previously wanted a bit too much. So we might still have a few signings to come our way. But I think generally I'm pretty happy with the overall talent we've got. But yes, the first elephant in the room that I'm going to go over is Buster Barbrook. My God, this is just the last week of offers. Leeds wanted him, then there was Bristol and Huddersfield, Brentford, Reading were after him, Bristol again, Bristol and Reading, Millwall, Brighton, we've had Norwich, I even Crystal Palace. I swear to God, since the last season ended, from about a week after that, every single time I've hit continue, I've had at least one Buster Barbrook offer, and I've been fighting them off like crazy. It's been very scary because especially Leeds wanting him. I'm not having Leeds front line in a year or two being Barbrook and O'Neill. It's already bad enough that they've took O'Neill off us. I'm not letting them also have Barbrook. And it is quite annoying because he is quite interested in going to all of them. So I'm assuming at the end of the transfer window, he's going to be very annoyed. I mean, if West Ham come in for him, I'm not sure we could turn them down. But it's got to the point that I've had to whack like a £4 million asking fee on him and just reject everything below that because it was taking me so long to get through each day even, let alone 2 months worth, while also trying to sign players. I was having to hit continue maybe like 15 times just to get a response on a bid that I've put in. So it was quite annoying. But either way, let's have a look at a new, well, first we'll have a look at our outgoings. I mean, they're all on here together, but still. So yeah, Mario Achinger has been sold to Watford, but on the plus side, they did offer him back on loan for the season. So we've got him for this season in the same way that we had Kevin O'Neill last season, which is not the best because I think he's a decent young talent and I was sort of expecting he might be part of our Premier League squad when we get there. But overall, £2 million is a lot of money to us. And at the time, we were definitely starting to sink down towards the break, like the £0 balance. And that was a good deal. Little did I know, a few weeks later, Miles Peart-Harris would go to Salernitana. I did that new try to sell by intermediary option, and his value was like 1 to 2 million, and we got an offer in for 1.7. Cannot turn that down at all. He didn't really play for us much last season. He was probably going to have to step in a little bit more this season, but for that sort of money, he can go all he wants. And the same sort of goes for Adam Robb. I also did that through another intermediary offer. 1.4 million. It was at a point where I'd signed a left back, which meant that Wilson was probably going to be more right-sided player for us, who played at left back last season. We could do both. So Adam Robb had dropped down to being our fourth choice option, and I did have an offer in from Mamadou Sissoko over here, who ended up joining. We'll go over him in a minute. who's also a right-sided player, so it just made sense to let him go. And Bailey Kadamardri has gone. 75,000, again, Salernitana. They're going to be playing together next season. He didn't really do what I needed him to last season. He was definitely never the first name on the team sheet that he was in the season before for us. He didn't really perform super well when he came on. He got a few vital goals, and I had the option to reclaim at least some of the money I'd spent on him, so it seemed like a no-brainer. The only other person that's gone, Scott Mullin, has gone to Stoke, 800k again. Very good price for him. Cannot complain about that at all. He's then gone back out on loan to Stockport. Had the fans kicking off that we'd sold a young talent, but he wasn't getting near the squad. And even though he was a pretty good young talent, potentially championship standard talent, we probably could have got more for him if we'd waited a few years, but he wasn't really developing at the club. He was just going out on loan each season, so I didn't really have much in the way of plans for him. But anyway, on to the good news. So it started off last season, because obviously a couple joined in the last season. We had Bobby Clark join. Looks like a very good attacking midfielder. I'm pretty sure we went over him last episode. If we didn't, there he is. Take a look. He's got a little bit worse somehow since he joined. Not thrilled about that. And then after that, we managed to sign Jason Boyd from Linfield. This guy came up as a staff recommendation to us, and I do think he could be a very good option to replace Osman Foyo. He's obviously a lot taller. He's got an extra foot on him compared to Osman and the rest. But a 4.5-star ball-winning midfielder. He's sort of got everything you'd want. Ideally, I would have liked him maybe a bit stronger or a little bit faster. One of the two. Slightly better at marking. He could be maybe better at passing. But looking at his stats, he is incredibly well-rounded. And if we compare him to Foyo, he is just a better player, I think. Foyo's got him slightly better on defending and he's slightly faster. But technical aerials, mentals, and just that extra added, aerial ability, I definitely think Jason Boyd is the better option. Osman Foyo is still going to be a bench option for us, and he still will be involved this season. He's done fantastically for us over the years, but it was just a case of us needing an upgrade, to be honest. And for 125k up front, with 60k going after 50 league appearances and 100k after 30 league goals, it's probably going to be, next season by the time those get activated. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, very happy to have him in the squad. After that, I will say we ran through a bit of a dry period and couldn't sign anyone for a few weeks, just from not really finding anyone great. But I was waiting for the season to tick over as well as the contracts to expire so that players got released from clubs. That has obviously started to happen. And we had Jack Meredith here, who's coming in as our new first choice goalkeeper. He looks very good for the level. He's only 18 years old. He got released by Man City, never made an appearance for them. And we've managed to get him in on just 1.2 thousand a week, which was incredibly low. I think he started off at about 3,000, might be low 3,000s, and I managed to negotiate him down by just pumping him full of bonuses and high loyalty bonuses. But not ideal way of doing things, but for a goalkeeper of this quality, I mean, if we compare him to Ombang, he is better, I would say. He's not quite as good with distribution or not quite as physical, but shot stopping is the main thing, and also Jack Meredith has got a lot of potential, potentially Premier League standard. He could quite easily be our goalkeeper for the next few years. So overall, I think a very good signing, and it means Ombang will be more of our cup goalkeeper / second choice keeper. We also signed Alvaro on loan from Atletico Madrid. He's a centre-back, and he looks like he could be our main man at the back this season. Very good all-round, not quite brilliant at heading, but apart from that, there's not really any gaps in his game at all. And he could step into defensive mid if we feel like we need to pull that spot back a little bit, but he's not really required, I don't think. He's played on and off for Atletico Madrid over the years. He's mostly played for their B team, but haven't had to pay him too much money. I think he is maybe our highest paid player at 2.2 thousand a week. But I think he's a very good signing. We obviously had Achiga coming back in. Then we had our two, we always get a couple of loans in from Tottenham each season. First off, I'll go Andy Benson, who is looking like he could be one of our main Mazzalas this season. He looks very good indeed. I could definitely see a midfielder, which actually now I think about it, the three Bs. You've got Benson, Boyd and Bellingham, which would be pretty solid for us. I think I'd be very happy with that, obviously depending on how they perform. But we've got him on loan from Tottenham for the season. He was playing in the Championship for Reading last season on loan, so he's definitely used to the level, although his performances might not have been brilliant. And then we were looking for another left-back, and Aaron Nobes was available. He's definitely not going to be our first-choice left-back, I wouldn't say. We have got Wilson and Hughes still at the club, who are both, I would say, better than him. And Ruggiero has come in, but we'll get to him in a second. He's rated on the comparison as being better than Nathan Hughes, but I think if you compare the two, like Hughes is better defensively, aerially, speed and vision, and Nobes is better technically and slightly more physical, which, I'm not saying there's nothing to that, but I don't think that there's as much to it as the game's making out. But either way, I think he'll be a completely fine option. I do sort of just look at Spurs of like, who do they have that we could want for free for the season that could add some squad depth potentially? It makes the most sense. I'm not sure how happy their manager will be with it, but we will see. Jose Antonio Major has joined us and gone back out on loan, as you can see on the other side. He looks like an incredibly good advanced forward for us and will probably be part of our squad next season as long as he can get a work permit. I signed him thinking that 25 caps and 5 goals for the El Salvador national team would be enough. It's apparently not. He is their star player, but because they're so low ranked, it wasn't deemed as being worth a work permit, which is quite annoying. We have signed him on £1,000 a week. He looks like he could be very good for us. He had a great season at Isidro Metapan in the El Salvador League last season, but he's gone on loan to the Spanish League, to Osasuna in the Segunda League, isn't it? Yeah, the second division. Hopefully he'll be able to get a bit of game time over there and come back with a work permit next season. Then had Ruggiero coming in at left back, 32-year-old Italian coming in. He looks incredibly solid for us. You know, as far as left backs go, there's not really much wrong with him here. You know, if I'm picking faults completely, yeah, 10 dribbling isn't fantastic, but we're not using wing backs. The left backs shouldn't be going back forward too much. I mean, thinking about it, they do quite a lot, but it's normally passed to them. So let's hope it's good enough. He could ideally maybe be a little bit stronger as well. But 5'10", he's been playing in Sassuolo for quite a while in the Serie A, so he's used to probably a higher level than what we play at anyway. He's 32 years old and we've got him for 2 seasons, and I doubt we'll be extending it any further than that. But I think he could be a very good option for us. Taylor Simpson is just a youth option that I've signed from Thetford Town. Looks pretty good, Mazzala. He's got plenty of potential. Just says could improve a lot. Not really much to say about it at this point. He's going to be in our youth team. He's currently in our under-21s, training with the slightly older people, because I do think that for a 16-year-old, he's got very good stats. But obviously, he's nowhere near our first team. Another youth option we've signed is Andre Diuase. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but he looks like a very good goalkeeper for a 16-year-old. He's got buckets of potential again, even more than Jack Meredith, but he's obviously nowhere near being ready for our first team. So we'll look back at him in a few years' time, potentially. And then we had Mamadou Sissoko, who's joined as a right-back, probably going to be one of our starting right-backs. Him and Roger Wilson are going to be sharing that spot, with Wintersgill moving as into more of a centre-back role this season, I'm hoping, but we'll see how things play out throughout the season. Yeah, Diasse here looks very good. He's on 2.4k, so he's currently our highest paid player, I think. I'll have to check after all this. Very fast. Pretty good at passing. Could do with slightly more mentals, realistically. But for a 20-year-old, I think he is more than good enough for our team overall. Spent the last season out on loan in Kazakhstan, which is a little odd. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But came through the Lons youth system. I'm hoping he's going to be pretty good. And then last up, we have got Phil Roberts, a striker joining from Manchester United. With all the interest that we had in over our forwards, I felt like I had to get another striker in just in case. I was looking for the whole time, but we were getting offers in for Dylan Munro, who had an offer accepted, I want to say, for Crystal Palace, and then he rejected the contract. Obviously, Barbrook was getting constant offers, and it took us quite a while to renew Kevin. And as you saw in a clip earlier, Leeds United have accepted us extending Kevin O'Neill's loan. So with how things were going, I was pretty desperate to bring in a striker somewhere. It took me a long time to get a deal through for this guy. We had a few loans rejected by Man United because they wanted us to pay like 150 grand a month to take him. And I'm sorry, he's very good. And I think with that pace, even with a slightly lower finishing stat than you'd like, I think he's going to do incredibly well for us this season. But he's definitely not worth me paying $6 million over the season to get on loan. But yeah, I think he will be incredibly good for us. So yeah, as well, current deals that are going on. Eric Millington, Daniel Rigg are both potentially going out on loan. And I think there's offers to buy in each of these deals. I can't actually check that one. Yeah, Rigg's got an optional future fee at 75k. We've also got our loan options, Mamadou Fati, who's going out on loan to Aquita Stanley for the season, and Papa Alioune Fame going to Shrewsbury. So hopefully they can get some good first-team football in there and develop nicely. And I actually did want to, I've just realised, thank you for the pop-up here, Moses Abba, his sell-on clause fee, because he's worth 6.8 to 10 million, and he's 21 now. He's not really developing, but his sell-on clause has got him up at 4.82 million. So I am going to sell that just so we have got some extra funds available. Just get rid of this. We've received 4 million. And for the first time in history, we're up over the £10 million border. I do think I'm going to have to pump a good chunk of that back into the squad potentially. But yeah, we've got big decisions coming up on how we're going to be lining up is the problem we've got. We have got actually, just so that you can see, we've got our first match against Bolton today. So we're going to run through that now. But yeah, I think this is pretty much how we're going to be lining up, at least to start this season off. We'll see how things go, and we might have to make some adjustments. So it's Meredith at the back, Wilson, Edgerton, Alvaro, and Wintersgill across defence. Boyd playing ball with a midfielder, Benson and Bellingham in the Mazzala roles, Achinga in front of those as the Ngonch, and O'Neill and Barbrook, the classic front two, starting up front. Overall, we've got pretty good cover. We're just going to have to see how this goes. I mean, we're up against a team that we got promoted with, so it's not as scary as it could be. You know, like Wolves are the favourites for the division. If we'd come up against them first, it could be a huge problem. Okay, so we are favourites for a reason. Go out there, no doubt why. Let's try and boost up our attackers a bit, and I think defenders need a bit as well. So, made almost no impact on them. Brilliant. New signings, it rarely does, I suppose. We're lining up in our standard 4-3-1-2, and Bolton are in a 4-2-3-1. That seems like a massive gap in their midfield there, but I'm sure it's not as big as it's being shown. And away we go. We're kicking off our season. And there's been a pretty quiet start to the match. And as soon as I start saying that, we get a highlight. 12th minute. Wilson and Boyd. First look at a few of our new players here. Wintersgill gets it to Bellingham. Looks to get a cross in. Or does he cut it back? Cut it back to Wintersgill. Nice little... Oh, okay. That looked like a nice little tackle to me. But I'm not going to complain about that. And we get our first penalty of the season. Can we turn it into our first goal? Joe Bellingham, definitely not Jude. And he puts it in the bottom right. Israel in goal, beaten soundly. Very nice little composed finish there. Crowd noise has got very loud. Jesus. Have we moved to our bigger stadium already? We've got 5,300 attendance. That's got to be our cap. That's crazy. Had like a quiet 15-20 minutes since that. Am I going to manage to summon another highlight? No, looking at the match momentum, it's definitely swung in their favour. We have got another highlight now. Long ball out. Edgerton can't quite get on the end of it, but O'Neill picks up the loose ball. Tries to get it back to Boyd, but it gets cut out by Bolton. And now Thomason is looking to come forward, or maybe not. They're just faffing around with it a little bit too much here. I've also just noticed there is actually quite a bad kick clash here. Somehow didn't notice that in the penalty highlight. But... at least we've got black shorts. Thomason coming forward. Okay, still. They've got very good at retaining possession, but it has taken them a while to get to this point. He does get past Wintersgill and gets a cross in, but Meredith comes and collects. That's what we got you in for, Jackie boy. And he just dropped the ball and kick it. That's a very long goal kick, but it doesn't go to anywhere useful. But luckily Robinson gives it straight to O'Neill anyway. Ball up to Barbrook. That might be offside, but Barbrook's managed to put it in the back of the net. That's either a perfectly timed run, yeah, or is comfortably offside. It was like comfortably offside enough that we didn't even get to see a replay. Achinga doesn't quite get to the loose ball there. Thomason starts off another move. He seems to be in every highlight so far. Pinto gets a cross in towards the back post. And Abdul Malik heads it over. Right, that is a 1-0 lead at half-time. Things are going well. Are you capable of even better? You still improve in defence and midfield. Everyone apart from Kevin O'Neill seems pretty happy with that. I'm probably going to make a few subs relatively early in this half. Give a few of our other new players a run out, but I'd like to make it 2-0 first, ideally, and not be 1-1 because it might be here with a Bowers corner kick. Jack Meredith comes out and punches. They are coming forward again though, and he's got a good chance here. And Bowers curls it into the bottom corner and makes it 1-1. Why is Wintersgill's yellow card formatted like that at the bottom? That was very odd. A good punch out here, but just no one closed down Aswell outside the net, outside the box there. And Bowers had a nice little chance and curled it into the bottom corner. Okay. Is that what he needs to do? Andy Benson's struggling a little bit. Might have to take him off. We have got a Wintersgill throw-in the meantime. Achinga and Wintersgill linking up on that right side. Bellingham gets a nice ball in. Kevin O'Neill tries to get into it. And it cannons into Barbrook's face and just goes into the net. I don't know if that was a header or a rebound. That was very strange. I want to see that properly there. Bellingham puts his cross in. O'Neill headers it. And it just like, he headers it slowly onto Robinson's head. Robinson just power headers it into Barbrook, who just powers it straight back where it come from. Okay, I'm not sure I've ever seen a goal like that before, but I will take it. In the meantime, let's make a few subs. Benson is struggling, as I said, so I do think I'm going to bring Yaya Boyang on to reclaim his spot from last season. Atchinger's also not having the best game, so I'd like to give Bobby Clark a run out. Apart from that, we are generally pretty good. Winterskill's on a yellow and is not in a brilliant position, so I am actually going to bring Sissoko on just to double check what his star rating is there. I mean, I was going to play him there regardless, but you've got to be curious about these things. And we'll give a few run-outs for our new players and Boyang. But in the meantime, nice little long kick from Meredith. Barbrook's running on to the end of it. It's 1-on-1. This should be a goal. I was fully celebrating already. There was no part of me that was considering that might not have been a goal. That's quite embarrassing. I'm glad I'm not on camera. Sissoko with a throw into Barbrook down his right hand side. He gets the ball into O'Neill. Is that another penalty? No. It comes out to Boyang. No, that one is though. That looked less of a penalty than the other one. Okay. This is an odd match. Boyang does step up though and slots it into the bottom corner himself. Exact same spot as Bellingham put it. Yeah, Boyang was our main penalty taker last season, and he has not lost his edge. Not even going to watch the replay. We've seen him score that exact penalty so many times. Another 10 minutes has gone. Kevin O'Neill is actually injured after that little knock in the penalty area. So I'm going to bring Phil Roberts on for his first start. And apart from that, I'm not sure. I've got one more sub, so I'm going to save it for a little bit. I'd quite like to bring Habib Razak Kuhound on, and Alvaro is our least conditioned player, less fit player. He's got the least energy left, let's say, so he'll probably be coming on for him. But everyone is playing pretty well, so I'm a little worried. There's been a lot of red cards in the division today. Just look at that in the bottom right. Another one just come in there. Oh, yeah, I've got a highlight. I was just pausing it so I could make a substitution. Charlton lose to Birmingham. Charlton have been one of the main people trying to get Barbrook, weirdly enough. Sissoko, what the hell? Mamadou Sissoko with a brilliant rocket into the top corner there. I didn't even see the build-up to that properly. I was looking at the Charlton Birmingham City score in the bottom. How did this get all the way across the box? Because it feels like it shouldn't have. Oh, okay. It got passed on by Clark. Sissoko, though, with an absolute monster of a shot into that far corner. And it's 4-1. Right, Alvaro, you can come off for Kazak. We'll give you a little run out. Kazak, Razak, Cahoon. I'm going to have to spend a bit of time getting used to his name because it's so much different to so many other people on the team. Okay, and we're into stoppage time. Nothing seems to be happening in this time. Okay, we have got another highlight though. Got 3 minutes left of injury time. Cahoon, the first touch we've seen him on the ball at least, gets the ball to Bellingham, starts to move off nicely. Tries to get it inside. No, Sissoko picks up the loose ball. Sissoko's looking like a monster here. The ball falls to Barbrook and somehow gets cleared off. That looked like it was an open net. Well, it was well past the goalkeeper. The defender was on the line or close to it. And I think that is going to be full time. Okay. What a start to the season. I really skipped that screen there very quickly, but we're going to get to see it again here at least. So yeah, 4-1. We're up to third. I mean, like I said, Birmingham and Bolton that came up with us are, meant to be bottom two in that league between the two of them. So take this with a pinch of salt. We will see where it goes. Return dominance into victory. Kevin O'Neill's out for about 2 weeks potentially. Sissoko scores in his debut, and yeah, that was. I'm not gonna praise you. You're only on the pitch for 20 minutes or so, mate. But yeah, I do not know where we're going to come back for in this. This game went well, but we'll have to see how the matches up against some of the more seasoned championship opposition go. If we end up struggling, then as soon as we get like a big game that against a potential relegation rival comes up, we'll obviously play that. If we depending on where we are, we'll play someone around us potentially, or whoever is favourite to win the league. Wolves. I don't think I'm going to wait that long. It seems absolute madness to try and get to the end of November before doing a match. But yeah, we'll find a good game to come back for, and we've got off to a brilliant start at least. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, maybe leave a like or comment down below. It really does help out a great deal, and it means a hell of a lot to me as well. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss whenever the hell we come back in this schedule, and I will see you next time.